Dylan Brown takes the money and run. Tom Hazelton stays the Sharks. What a story. Cody Ramsey's back in rugby league, folks. Yes, this and plenty more on your round one preview show here at the Barry Charles Footy Show. Welcome back, guys and gals. Well, I'm just on the premise of moving to a new house, so that's why you have this video in the background here, and you will see much more prime time video coming from next week onwards. You will start to see it slowly work up as I get the set ready, but it will be rocking and rolling very soon. But let's get back to the footy, folks. Yes, Barry Charles Footy Show right here, right now. $13 million. Thank you very much. See you later. Dylan Brown is out the door. Well, congratulations to him. But what a bad signing for the Knights. Absolutely. He is a good player, don't get me wrong. He's a very good player. But is he worth $1.3 million? Hell no. Is he a Nathan Cleary? No. Is he up with the top echelon? Not yet. He's a very good player, but he's not a superstar. He needs to go to that next level and lead this team around. Can he do it? Time will tell. Well, why I want to say this is because you got Kalen Ponga, say 1.5 million, Dylan Brown 1.3 million. That's 2.8. That's pretty similar to what Tom Trbojevic, Jake Trbojevic, and DCE are at the Manly, and they've done that for a long time, haven't won a comp. These arguments that Melbourne Storm did it back in the day, but they were cheating the cap, so go figure. But it hasn't worked in the past, and it doesn't look like it'll work into the future. You'll be relying on a Cogger and Brayley or someone, young hooker, to steer the ship around. Will they win you a premiership? No, it won't. If you added Harry Grant to their roster, then I'd say a different story. But then you might have star power there, but you've got no props to win you the premiership, and we know how important the props are. And they've already Lee Thompson left, and now Jake Saifiti could be on the way out as well, as he's on a high wage. And then you've got Brandon Best that I believe is on 800,000. So there's two players on 800,000. Who are you going to let go? Saifiti probably. You let him go, who you got? So they're going to be relying on a lot of youth in the prop situation. They really are struggling in that regard. But if they were, imagine if they had Harry Grant. But imagine if they could find someone of that caliber to play hooker, then I think they could do a Cogger at 7 and they'll be fine. But yeah, a lot of pressure is going to go on Dylan Brown. It was already under pressure. Parramatta, it's going to amplify when he goes to the Knights. But pretty much you pay 1.3 million to a player that's going to win you a comp. And let's be honest, I don't think he will win them the comp. Not by himself, that's for sure. But it's going to be interesting. In a 10-year deal, it's just madness for mine. It hasn't really worked. People say DCE, he's played well, yes, but he hasn't won them a comp. Since he signed that deal, hasn't won them a comp. Same with Tamalolo. It really is one of those damned you do, damned you don't. And I just don't think it was a great signing. And if you're saying Dylan Brown's worth 1.3 million, how much is Nathan Cleary? 2 million, easy. But you'll be ruining the salary cap, so it's a major signing. But to be honest, Parramatta weren't going to pay 1.3 million, and they would have been silly to do so. So I understand why Dylan Brown took the money and run, but I think the Knights is going to be disastrous, and Adam O'Brien will be the first one to be see you later if they fail. And I can't see them doing well. Unless they find some sensational props out of nowhere, they're paying them $100,000, put it on minimum wage, and they win the comp that way, because since they skyrocket, they won't be able to afford them. That is where the question marks are hanging on. If you could add, say, Harry Grant and a Fanua Blake, then you could probably work around the rest of the team, and then they could win a premiership. But can they get those players? Have they got enough money in the cap? That is the $1 million question going forward for all United fans. But yeah, interesting times ahead. Who has the better of the two? Well, it's not good for the Parramatta Eels, but Parramatta Eels can buy someone the same sort of caliber for 800,000, in my opinion. So we will see how that goes and see who they go after. But a lot of work to be done, and from what I'm hearing, it's Lockie Gowan they're under, and they could probably get Lockie Gowan for the 800,000, 900,000 a year sort of money. So it's going to be interesting how that plays out into the future. But life goes on. It's rugby league, and we just got to support the rugby league. Well, yes, Cody Ramsey, the big story. It's the biggest story, and it'll be the biggest story when he gets named for the Dragons sooner rather than later, I believe. He's on fire. Cody Ramsey, gun, played excellent in his first game back. He'll only improve. He's at 80 kgs, and his playing weight was 90 kgs, so he's got a long way to go. But from where he's come, it's a huge story. I'm sure that story will be talked about sometime this year on one of the big channels. But yes, good to see Cody Ramsey back in the rugby league. Yes, Tom Hazelton, how did the Sharks sign him? It's just stunning. Okay, I know he's not a gun player, but he must have stayed under. Surely some other team like the Knights or someone would have put a lot of money onto them to sign him. But yes, the Sharks keep marching, and they got to be close to a premiership. But the question mark for the Sharkies, as I've said along, and we'll talk about it later, is Hines and Will Kennedy. I don't think are the answer in their positions. I think Hines goes to fullback, and then you find out a 6. Get rid of Will Kennedy. I think they'll be a better looking team, a better team overall. I think Kennedy is the one that needs to leave. Hines goes to fullback, and they either find a halfback or a 6. That's the way I would go if I was Fitzgibbon in terms of trying to find the next player up. But yes, it's going to be interesting how that all plays out going forward. Well, yes, let's recap the footy. Yes, we'll go quickly back to Las Vegas. We already talked about it, but we will quickly just talk about the Raiders and the Warriors. Out of the two, the Warriors played bad instead the Raiders were excellent. Let's just put it that way. The Raiders were not like world beaters in this game. The Warriors were very bad. Corey Horsburgh was outstanding. But Tapane missing this week with Savage. It'll be interesting to see how they go next up. But the Warriors, will be interesting to see their selection, which will be done today. So that might come out before we even let this one out, folks. But to me, it's absolute ridiculous. Ridiculous. Rogers got to be fullback. There's some work to be done for the Warriors, that's for sure. Can they bounce back against Manly? We'll talk about that later in the week. But yes, and the other game, obviously, there was Panthers and the Sharkies. To me, the Panthers, they got it done, but the Sharkies had enough in their caliber to have won that game as well. They just were just a little bit behind the pace, but again, Hines and Trindle was the big question mark. Everyone else played fantastic. That is the question. But let's get to the games from this week. Roosters, Broncos, absolutely diabolical, the Roosters. There's talks of Jared Hargraves. They want to get him out of his contract and get him back. Well, I think they should do it if they can, because it's just absolute madness. Their team is weak. Why would they let go of Terrell May? It just didn't make sense either. Don't know what happened. There must have been some sort of fight to happen there, because it's just absolutely ridiculous. But yes. But one thing I have to talk about is the ground. At Allianz, a beautiful stadium to watch, but in terms of the actual ground, it had a sprinkle of rain, and it went flooded, absolutely flooded. This is just madness. I don't know what they can do. They probably have to I believe they already did redo the pitch, and look at it's failed. So it's clearly in the soil below, something clearly wrong. They built it the wrong spot or something. It's just something that the drainage system is absolutely bad. But disappointing. But getting back to the footy, Ezra Mam, will he play again this season? Ben Hunt and Anna Reynolds just look like a masterclass, playing the symphony of an orchestra beautifully. Didn't overplay their hand. They let the big boys do their job, and then the outside backs do the distance. The rest, it just looked like pure poetry in motion, folks. And really, it looks like they're a big chance the Broncos are going all the way in 2025. But yes, for the Roosters, you got to be scratching your head. Dominic Young, even though he scores tries, how many does he let in? He reminds me very much of a Manu Fatuvi. Very good attack, but defensively not good. And you don't want a premiership that way, and that's the problem. Let's have a look at a bit of the stats. 59% possession to the Broncos, to the 41 of the Roosters. Completion rate was 84% for the Broncos. Very, very good. To the Roosters, 73%. But yes, it's just one of those ones. Basically, the Roosters failed the exam, folks. They got a D for their performance. Absolutely rubbish. If you look at the run meters, 700 more run meters from the Broncos. They absolutely smashed them in this area. Line breaks 10-3, so Broncos just smashed them there as well. And offloads double the Roosters. It's just absolutely carnage. And the losing side, Tedesco was a solid South doing what he's done. Connor Watson, he did his best, but the likes of Collins, Chad Townsend, these are these experienced players. Lindsay Collins played for Australia last year. Chad Townsend was brought here to be a saviour for Sam Walker's injury. He looked like he was lost at sea as well as he gone past his use-by date. There's a lot of question marks. Here. And all the young guns, really, no one lifted. Sia Wong and the likes, they just did not lift in the full. None of these players lifted up to a level to say they are going to be any chance this season. I believe I put them in my top 8. It looks like I'm a fool's game at the moment with that selection. The Broncos. Reece Walsh, 200 run meters, 1 try, 1 line break. One line breaking, 6 outstanding. Cobbo, 3 tries, absolutely carved up Dominic Young's side. Shabaski, absolutely, he went rampant, 2 line breaks. The try assist, he was outstanding as well, scoring a try. Patrick Carrigan up front doing what he does best, playing prop. Jordan Ricky was up to his standard. It's just Kobe Hetherington as well. So it was a good balanced effort from the, with Payne Haas not doing as much as normal, but you had the lots of Corey Jensen and Xavier Williamson bringing the punch off the bench, which other clubs are not having. Outstanding team performance, and if they continue to play like that, they are certainly for the top 4, but we will see if that continues. And the Roosters look like a bottom 4 team, let's be honest. So let's go to the Tigers versus Knights game. Well, this is one of the dud games of the weekend. I did think this was the worst game, but there was another game that wasn't much better later but it was very bad. I mean, the Tigers were good. They should have won. They lost. The Knights were bad, and they somehow got away with the victory. That's a team that can make it into the top 8 with performances like that. When you lose ugly, when the other team was better than you and you still find a way to win, that is why the Knights are a chance again, even though I picked them to sack Adam O'Brien, but after getting Dylan Brown, it may not happen. Heath Mason. Yes, let's have a look at the players here in the 10-8 result. Heath Mason, he was pretty good, but defensively, rubbish. But yeah, the Knights had 64% completion rate to the 79% of the Tigers. But the line breaks, 7 line breaks to the 1 of the Tigers. That's where different tackle breaks, 51-26 of the Tigers struggled there. But the Tigers had more offloads in them, in the errors too, for the Knights, 16-7. So you look at some of these figures, you would have thought the Knights would have won this game, but no, they would have won by 10 plus, but no, they won. As I said before, Heath Mason had a good game, but he had a few errors in him. Taruva was good on his debut for the Tigers, doing this as same with Skelton, both impressive. So they've got the running game out of the back line. You bring Jeremy Buller back, Api Coruscant. They've got enough there. Centre's question mark, and the forward pack, Terrell May, was impressive, but he needs more help. He can't do it by himself. Jack Bird, Royce Hunt, they were pretty solid off the bench. But Pole, 7 missed tackles. 6 missed tackles by Jack Bird. I mean, it's just the Silver 6 missed tackles. 5 from Luai. Not good enough. I mean, they had a good scramble defense, but the Knights weren't much cop in this game, let's just be honest. But in terms of the Knights, who played well for them, well, at the back, Kalen Ponga, 200 run meters, 2 line breaks, 1 line break assist, outstanding. Brandon Beast and Greg Marshew. James Schiller all over 100 meters. Yeah, so there was Fletcher Sharp, he played pretty well. Leo Thompson delivered as well. But they need more from their bench. They really do. Jack Hetherington, Dylan Lucas was good as well. But yeah, their bench is a worry for me. They just don't have the class on the bench to match the top teams in this competition, and that's what's going to let them down going forward. But yeah, a lot of work from both these teams. They need to lift their game if they're going to be top 8 contenders. Rabbitohs versus the Dolphins, 16-14. What a game. This was a dud of a game, no doubt about it. Nichols, Kenny Bromwich, and Nicarima out, and they nearly won. I know the Rabbitohs had a lot of players out, but Rabbitohs should have won by more. But they didn't. If you look at the Rabbitohs, 85% completion rate to 75 of the Dolphins. 200 more run meters than the Dolphins. Dolphins had 12 errors to the Rabbitohs 6. All roads lead to Rabbitohs should have won by much more, but they didn't. But yeah, Dry Gray, very impressive. Absolutely man of the match. Deserve it. 280 run meters. 116 post contact. 1 line break. 1 try assist. He was all over the show. He was absolutely outstanding. Same with Campbell Graham. 200 run meters. Very, very good game from him as well. You add the likes of Kalamatangi, had a very good game. And Tallis Duncan off the bench, so he brought some bruteness off the bench. But the big question for all you fans of the Rabbitohs, who's going to step up for Karen Murray? Who's going to step up in the forward pack? Because Sean Kepe, Tatola, and Dave Molly failed. Well, Kepe was okay, but the other two majorly failed. Tallis Duncan did his job, but they're going to need a lot more if they want to be a true top 8 chance this year. They really struggled. If we look at the other side of the coin, Fido, Timberwhite Fido, 228 run meters, 2 line breaks, very good, 1 try assist. Herbie Farnworth was a little bit caught out of defence at times, but again, he was outstanding in attack. Josh Kerr, how good was he? Late Corlin, and he played it impressive. Whether he can keep his spot, we will see. But let's be honest, I don't think you've seen a team winning a premiership out of these two teams. Dragons and Bulldogs. The scoreline certainly flattered the Dragons in this game, folks. Bulldogs should have won by probably 20. They fell asleep for the last 25 minutes of the game. But yeah, to me, the Bulldogs look like a top 8 team for sure on what I've seen. We will see if that continues. But yeah, Serraldo won't be happy with his defence late in the game because the Bulldogs had 58% of possession, so they should have won. But their completion rate wasn't that great at 74, same with the Dragons, so that's why I said it wasn't that much of a game in terms of that. But the Bulldogs still won. They won quite well. But the error count 15 was disappointing for fans of the Dragons, and same with Bulldogs 10. They're both disappointing. So a lot of work to be done for both those teams going forward. Yeah, but what was happening with Christian Tuapolotu with 3 tries, celebrating, show me the money, honey. Was he trying to get more money out of the club? Was he trying to show off to the ladies? There was absolute madness. This team was losing the game big time and he was trying to celebrate. I don't know what was happening there. That was just, man. But if we look at the Dragons, I thought disappointing was the whole spine. Kyle Flanagan, Gufferson, Cook, they were all quiet, to be honest. And Lachlan Ilias, they were very disappointing. And on that performance, they're going to need a lot. But Tuapolotu was outstanding. 2 tries, 171 run meters. He was very good. But yeah, some question marks on their side. And the Bulldogs, Crichton was very quiet in this game. Oh yeah, also the Dragons. What are their forward pack? Very weak. Clemmer potentially coming. But really, I don't think he's going to make much of a difference there. The Dragons are really struggling in the forward pack. Yeah, Bulldogs, Crichton was quiet. Connor Tracy, he playing solid football at the back, but is standard for fullbacks these days, and he's probably not in the top 10, but he's a solid player for sure. Matt Burnham was impressive running meters. He played a good game. But yeah, the Bulldogs look impressive, and you should be expecting top 8, but we will see in a month's time where they end up. The next couple of months will really determine more likely where they're going to be. Manly absolutely gave it to the Cowboys. Smashed the Cowboys, yes. They had 57% of possession. Of course they're going to be winning this game. 600 more run meters. 11 line breaks to Cowboys 3. 3 forced dropout. This was just one smooth sailing team. Absolutely all day, every day. Luke Brooks and DCE were outstanding. Tommy Turbo outstanding. So was Lehigh Hopwater. Both ran for over 200 meters and line breaks and everything galore. Absolutely killing. Jason Sub 5 line breaks. I mean, it was just carnage. And it was a good team effort for Manly as well. The forward pack all doing their job. They look destined to be the Smoky to win this premiership. Absolutely. If Tommy Turbo stays on the field, they are a big shot. But the Cowboys, question marks all over the show. Scott Drinkwater was quiet. But Braden Burns over 200 run meters, he was good. Dearden looked lost at sea with Tom Duffy. And Cohen Hess was the only forward to run over 100 meters. What's doing there? There's a lot of work for the Cowboys to do. And if it continues like this, Todd Payton could be the first sack coach of the season, not Adam O'Brien. The last game of the round, Storm versus Eels. Wow, how bad were the Eels, folks? How bad were the Eels? The Storm flew out of the gates. They should have probably won by 80, but they've put the foot off the gas. But yes, really it was just disappointing. Dylan Brown didn't turn up. Neither did any of the forward pack for the... apart from Hopgood, he played well. And there was one other, but really they just struggled. They really did struggle. Pappenhausen was just all over this team. It was a good Orongi, I thought was good at fullback. He was outstanding. Will Penasini was good. Yes, Jack Williams was the other good player for the Parramatta, but the rest of the team really struggled. And Stefano didn't do a lot, but again, the shared forward pack sort of thing with this team, the forward pack sticks weren't that great for the Storm, but overall they contributed to the victory. But yes, what do we see from round one? Well, from round one, there's 5 teams that can win this premiership, and that's it. I don't think you can go anywhere else to say any other team can win the premiership right here, right now. It's Penrith, Storm, they're the obvious ones. Broncos, Manly, and Cronulla. They're the 5 teams that can win the premiership. And then you're probably going to host them another 5, 6 teams fighting out from 6 to 8. Then they will be the ones fighting out for that. And that'll all depend over the next 2 months, definitely. I mean, it's obviously not going to be finalised to the end, but you got to be still in the race in 2 months' time. Basically after the first 8 games, this is a quarter of the season. If you haven't won four games, you won't win the premiership. So that's a starting point. So you can write off any team that doesn't win 4 games out. And generally, you probably have about 9 or 10 teams that win 4 games. So that's how that works. And the rest of the teams, you can write them off. But yeah, to me, right now, if you had to label the best team of the weekend, well, it's hard to say who was the best team. Because Penrith and Sharks was a high quality game. So you could argue those two were good. But and the Eels were real bad, so that's why I'm not going to say the Storm either. Same with the Broncos, Rooster. So it's Manly had the Cowboys, so it's really tough. So if you're probably going on who they played, Penrith are number 1 still. Then after that, you can write your ticket on who you think is the next best. But we will see in the next two months for sure, because you will really see who is going to be the top of the echelon, who keeps winning. If the Broncos keep winning, you can say they have a big chance. Same with Manly. Same with the Sharkies, as well as the the Storm. So it's going to be a good season going up. For all Warriors fans, where do they finish? Well, they'll be struggling to make the 8 on what I saw from round 1. They could still do it, but selection is key. They've got a lot of question marks here. I like Chanel and Luke Metcalf. I really do, but they're probably both number 6s. And even though I would like them to play together, I just don't know if it'll work. But if you put Roger at fullback, Tamati Martin 7, Luke Metcalf at 6, you can put Chanel Harris-Tafita at 13 or on the bench. I think it's a more balanced side. I really do. I just think it's more... You could argue Tanner Boyd at 7 as well. But experience is key. I know Tamati Martin might not be as good talent-wise as the other players, but you know he is consistent and will get a job done. And I think, yes, I know about going to that next level. That's the question mark there for Tamati Martin. Can he go to that next level? That is the $1 million question for him. He's still young enough to be able to turn it around. But whether he gets that opportunity, I'm not sure. And if he deserves the opportunity, we will find out. But Roger's got to be fullback. We will see in the team list coming out today. And I will talk about it either Wednesday or Thursday when we get ready for Rock and Roll Rugby League. Well, that's the Barry Charles Footy Show for this episode. I will see you very, very soon.